Canada Soccer, what are you guys doing? What are we doing? Now, just a month out from the Gold Cup, Canada decided to put on its own little competition with four teams, actually inviting Ukraine, which is a top 25 team in the world. Canada representing itself at home, Bank of Montreal Field. New Zealand would fly over to Canada and Cote d'Ivoire. But nonetheless, this tournament started with a Canada versus Ukraine match that was actually pretty impressive for the Canadian side, earning a 4-2 victory at home, nonetheless, in front of their home fans in an inaugural tournament that didn't mean much, but still an impressive win and a great learning experience for the Canadians men's national team. Now, however, the tournament would kind of shape itself out after that Canadian 4-2 win that Cote d'Ivoire would need to win by 2 goals to draw in the standings and then end up sending the tournament championship ultimately to either penalty kicks or a decider finish. However, Canada drew the matchup against Cote d'Ivoire in what was a little bit of a lackluster matchup. Both teams were fiery, both teams battling against each other. The game would ultimately be a 0-0 draw with Canada winning the Canadian Shield. What would end up happening? Canada Soccer's tournament would end up having this matchup go to penalty kicks. And for the first time, probably ever, Canada declared the Canadian Shield winner would actually lose this game on penalties. It was great experience for the Canadian men's national team to continue to build towards the Gold Cup, but this was a little bit embarrassing as a Canadian soccer fan. Even the pundits after the game were talking about how this is the first time in really soccer history that the champion of a 4-team tournament was declared after losing penalties. They ended up staying on the field after losing. We're asked questions about how this moment in the penalties, which Canada has ultimately seen a lot of failure in World Cup penalties, a pretty disappointing ending to a tournament where Canada would ultimately win the inaugural Canadian Shield. I'm interested to know your guys' opinion on this. A little bit depressing to know that Canada, really their first tournament win, this new generation's tournament, their first victory, their first tournament championship with this kind of new wave of stars was this Canadian Shield. But I'll see you in the next video. Peace.